third GBM. It's October 8th, if you didn't know. And those are our social medias. If you want to follow us, go ahead. All right. Again, this is the website. Kelly, do you want to point out some stuff on the website?
I mostly said it last time, but just pretty much everything you ever are curious about is on the website. The Zoom link is under Get Involved. The past GBM recordings are under Get Involved. You can look at our events on the calendar. You can look at, if you're curious about any of the e-board, you can look at About Us or a mission or anything like that. Just check out the website and look around.
All right. So today we'll be going over the GBM schedule again, discussing upcoming events, and then we have our guest speaker, Haven Faith Shepherd, and her name is spelled wrong there.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna say anything.
No, I literally just changed it.
She did, and she was telling me it was spelled wrong, and then but I just changed it.
Yeah, so. I changed it.
Who changed it back?
Who changed it back? Whatever.
It's okay. It's okay. That was my entire T-ball journey with my name spelled backwards. I mean, my name spelled wrong. My dad made me go out with a piece of duct tape on my back because he was like, they're gonna spell it right one day.
And then we'll talk about points and then our recruiting little thing we have going on. So this week, did I change it here? Oh yeah, it's right there.
Oh, there we go.
This week we have Haven Faith Shepherd. Shepherd, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And then we have some other guest speakers coming up. Bea is a para equestrian horseback rider. And then her trainer will be guest speaking too. And then Josh Cinemo is a field athlete. Is that right? And then Dana
shot put and discus. Sorry.
Yeah. Dana Matheson is a wheelchair tennis player. Oh, Haven, we had Roderick Sewell on last GBM.
Uh-huh.
He told us he knew you and to ask you a question about a story, but I'll ask you later.
Okay. I think I know what story he's talking about.
Okay, on October 16th, we're going to be watching Rising Phoenix at 7 p.m. on Zoom, and then we'll be streaming it to you guys, so don't worry about that. And I heard it's really good. I haven't watched it, but we're going to watch it together. Taylor, do you want to talk about events?
Yeah, sure. So as the movie night that's going to be on the 16th, we have a night that's going to be scheduled, and we're collaborating with PATSA, Occupational Therapy Student Association. That was a handful, and I can barely breathe now. We have a Chipotle fundraiser that's going to be, November 2nd. Our trivia night, we're planning that. Our tentative date right now is December 1st. And if you have any ideas for events or want to collab with other organizations, just let me or Harari know. Harari's not here right now, but we're always welcome to any ideas or suggestions.
I have an idea.
Yeah.
Core is having this game night with the new game that everyone's raving about.
Is it Among Us?
Is it the one with the belly looking Teletubby?
Taylor, you're right. It's Among Us.
It's Among Us. Yeah. I saw their thing and I was like,
I don't know what that is.
Talk to them about that.
I don't know what it is either, but people are just like, oh, they look like the bottom half of Teletubbies.
Yeah, I've been seeing a bunch of memes about those. The red one is sus. What is that? I don't know.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll take a look into that because we have their contact and everything. So maybe for game night we can do something with them. But as of right now, we have one with PATSA.
What time is the movie?
Movie?
7 p.m.
Just so everyone else knows, because I don't think it's listed.
Yeah, put it up there. Okay, yeah, movie night 7 p.m. Game night also 7 p.m. I think. Okay, now we have our guest speaker, Haven Faith Shepherd. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. Okay.
I'm Haven Shepherd.
Do Do you want to start with like introducing yourself?
Yes. Hello, all. I am Haven Shepherd, and I am a professional athlete. I'm a Paralympic swimmer, and if you didn't notice, I am missing both my legs below the knee, and I'm 17.
Nice.
Thank
I
you.
actually found you on Jolynn's Instagram.
Yes.
That's so awesome.
She's obsessed with Jolyn. So
Yeah.
Oh,
But I was
give me your address. I'll send you something.
What? No, I was a swimmer and a water polo player in high school. So.
Oh my gosh. Oh, the water polo players come in before we swim. And yeah, they're really aggressive for us. But yeah.
Yeah.
We love water polo.
Yeah, I was like a water polo player and I swam on the side. And there's people who are like swimmers and they play water polo on the side.
No, because we joke that swimmers think water polo was too aggressive, and water polo thinks swimmers don't like to be aggressive. So that's what we think about water polo. But yeah, but
Sorry,
oh,
do you
go ahead.
on
No,
your
go ahead.
School team?
Sorry, what?
On your high school team?
So I'm homeschooled, so I don't really swim with the high school, but I swim in club. So, and he's the high school coach. So sometimes I'll swim at like 3 to just like swim, like during the winter season, I'll swim with my friends, and I get to like swim at 3 with them because they do club too. So the practices are the same. So sometimes I get to do that.
Nice. Okay, so how did you get involved with the para-athletic adaptive sports movement?
Oh, so I've actually been in the Paralympic movement since I was like 6 or 7. So growing up, I actually have 2 brothers and I have 4 sisters. So I have a really big family, and they were all really good athletes. And 3 of them played in college. My brother D1 basketball, sister D2 volleyball, D2 track, like just big, good athletes. So growing up, I just grew up in the gym. I joke with my parents. I was like, I tell them now, you didn't give me a childhood. I was raised on nachos, bubblegum, and pop at the basketball gym. So that was my upbringing. And so there was no doubt in my mind that I was going to be an athlete just like them. So around the time where I was like 5 or 6, my parents were trying to find a sport for me. I was really coordinated, so they thought I was going to play like tennis or like gymnastics or something like that. I was in baton twirling. I'm really proud of that for some reason, that I actually played somewhat of a good sport. Like I learned the baton twirling, and but those sports weren't really good for me. I couldn't really be on a team. What are those called? Team athletes, where you just like basketball or something, because I would get aged out, and eventually I couldn't run as fast and just keep up with all other kids. So I did all the pee-wee sports. That was really fun. I did all the pee-wee sports, but then around the time where I was like 9 or 10, I became a track runner, and I went to junior nationals when I was probably 9 years old. And I was a pretty good track runner, but then I soon realized I really hated track. I really didn't like it. My parents would like have to force me to go to the track, and I would cry. And I just want to say right now, if you start to cry every time you start to do something that you're supposedly want to do, you should probably reevaluate your life at the age of 10 years old. So I got into swimming because we had a pool in our backyard, and I could move well in the water, so my parents weren't really afraid of that. And also my dad just taught me from a very young age just how to swim, because that's really important to know, because not just the fact I didn't have legs. I didn't have legs. He also just didn't want his little 2-year-old to just fall in the pool and not know how to swim. So I always knew how to swim just by the time I was like 2 years old. So my parents put me in a couple swim lessons, and then about 2 years later, I went to no, that's a lie. 6 months later, I went to my first Paralympic swim meet. No, my first swim meet ever in Colorado Springs at the Olympic Training Center at the age of 10. And everybody was really surprised that I was actually pretty good at swimming because I actually had a very late start. Kids in club usually start swimming around like 6 or 7. So I had a really late start. So everybody was just trying to figure out, like, my parents were trying to figure out if I wanted to keep doing it because, like I said, I had a late start. And so like I wouldn't be as good. But about like 2 years later, I was on a club team swimming all year round. And that hit me like a truck. Swimming during the winter is not fun. But 2 years later, I made my first emerging team to be on the U.S. National team at the age of 12. Wow. And then when I was 13, I qualified to go to Paralympic trials, and I was seeded 3rd as a 13-year-old. So that was how I started moving into my athletic journey. And I was really young to be on that level. Nobody really expected, even me, I didn't really know what I was doing at trials when I was 13 because, you know, this was a funny, my mom's writing a book and I'm trying to remember stuff for her. And I remember this one story. I remember this time at trials where I have my hands on the blocks and I'm gripping, ready to go. And it was a really big race. If I touched second, I got to go to Rio in 2016, the Olympics. And that was a really big deal. And I was seeded 3rd. So I only had to beat one person. So I remember gripping the blocks and I said to myself, okay, if you don't touch second, then I get to go to summer camp. And that was the first moment I realized, man, I was really young when I went to trials. So yeah, but I've been swimming ever since then. And I'm sixth in the world for my 100 breaststroke, and I am 2nd in the nation in my 100 breaststroke, and 200 IM.
Wow, that's so impressive.
Yeah, I didn't know I would make it this far either.
Well, do you think it's like a good thing you didn't make it the first time, like last round?
Yes.
You got to like grow a little bit.
Yes, I've definitely grown as a person so much. And when you're 13, you think you're pretty old because that's the oldest you've ever been. But, you know, my mom knew I wasn't ready to go because I've never traveled internationally by myself before. You know, I would just be doing a lot of stuff that I wasn't ready for, obviously. But yeah, looking back, I was really, really young. Like I was put on the team when I was 12. Like as a 12-year-old, you're still, what grade are you in when you're 12? 6th grade. So I'm in 6th grade. I'm still in school. Like after 2016 games, my parents decided to homeschool me because, you know, 3rd in the nation, 8th in the world. Like they were like, you know, school can wait. You're gonna have so many opportunities right now. So we all made that decision together. But yeah, my siblings call me spoiled because I'm the 7th child, and they're like, Haven, mom and dad would have never done that for us. And I was like, well, you're not 2nd in the nation. So
what sports do your siblings play? You said track.
So I'm actually adopted. That's why I don't have legs. If you guys didn't know my story, I was adopted. And all my siblings, so it goes a boy, Hannah, 4 girls, and then a boy, and then me. So that's how our birth order goes. So so Zach played basketball and baseball, and he did both sports, and he had offers for doing either, and he decided to do basketball. And then my sister Hannah, she ran track at this, it's a D2 school, but I don't count it as that big because, you know, it's the next town over. I'm like, you didn't run D2, you ran D1. Let's
You're savage. You're such a sister.
Yeah, yeah, but she won state 4 years in a row in high school, so she was actually really good. But she was getting married going into college, so yeah. Anyway, but then my sister Chloe did volleyball at a private school, so and she went to state 2 times during her high school career. So really big athletes. We were a big athletic family.
Nice. So what's your training like with COVID?
Oh,
Because I know I lost access.
okay, I know you guys are California, all freaked out about COVID. She's crazy, as we all are. But during March, I didn't swim for like 2 weeks. Everything was shut down. Oh, do you guys see that fly?
Yeah.
Hit my electric tennis racket or something. But during March, it happened right after my birthday. So I got to hang out with my boyfriend, and then, boom, it's like nothing. So so swimming in March, I didn't swim all throughout March and half of April, but my coach actually let me and 4 other people on the team that had scholarships swim at his lap pool at his house. So we got to keep swimming, but like it wasn't big swimming. We were just, just moving around, making sure we weren't losing everything. And I was still doing weights in my trainer's garage. So I wasn't really losing that much ground, but except for racing. People don't realize how much racing is involved into training. I did a time trial with my team now, and I got done with my race. I was like, wow, that race used to be super easy, but like I don't know how to swim it anymore. but training now, since like schools catching up and stuff, my training schedule is let's see what I did this week. This week was pretty crazy. Monday, I do a double. So I swim at 5 in the morning. Then I get done around 8, come home, eat a little bit, and then I lift weights from 9:30 to 10:30. Then I go home, I study for a little bit, and then I go back to practice at 5. But then Tuesdays, I go to class in the morning at 10:30, and then I swim at 5. And then on Wednesday, I'll swim in the morning, just in the morning, so I can have a night at home, be with my family, family time. Senior year, kind of makes me kind of cry when I think about maybe leaving. But anyway, but Wednesday nights, I go in the morning so I can stay at home at night. And then like today on Thursday, I had class all morning, and then I have practice later tonight, and then Friday I'll do a double, so I swim in the morning and then at night, and then weights in between, and then swim again Saturday morning.
That's so busy. That's like
lots of swimming.
What you do in one day is literally like what I do all week, if that.
Yeah, I'm really close with my cousins out in Oklahoma, and I was like, dating me must feel like trying to date Rockefeller, just trying to catch up with their schedule. And that was just crazy that I've done this for like 4 years. That's insane. And I can't imagine what your guys' schedule is like in college.
Yeah. So you said you swim breaststroke and 200 IM.
Yes.
And Roderick also said he swam breaststroke. Did you know him? When did you guys meet?
So I've actually known Roderick my whole life. I met him when I was like 7, 8 maybe. That's when I did track. But yeah, I met him when I was really, really young, and we've been friends ever since then. He's like my big brother, like hanging out at meets together. What did he do last time I saw him? Oh, he dumped cold water down my back at a swim meet. And at that time I was very emotional. I'm young, I'm dumb. Like I just started crying. I was like, don't touch me, stuff like that. So yeah, that's kind of.
So he asked us to ask you to tell the bird story.
Okay, so, but it's not that funny of a story because like I was 12. We were in San Diego together, and and I just got done swimming. We did triathlon, so we swam a mile in the ocean, and so I just got done swimming, and I get out. I'm taking like my wetsuit off, and like I'm talking to people, and then all of a sudden, like I feel hotness on my head. And I was like, oh my gosh, what is that? And it's bird poop. I got pooped on by a bird. And I had to go to, and you should have seen me. I was like washing my hair in the sink. And you know, at La Jolla, like their bathrooms are not good, you know? So I'm just trying to like wash my hair like this in the sink. And he thought that was so funny. But
And you took off your cap already?
yeah, I took it all off, and I had like a hat on. The dumbest part, I had a hat on, but I had it on like a funny way. Like I had it on, you know how guys nowadays wear their hats like barely on their head, like right here.
Yeah, like
That's how I was wearing my hat. And then it just dripped down my face. I took it great. I was like, oh well. That might as well has happened today. Like, you know, it was kind of like a whatever. This might as well just happen.
Yeah, say it's good luck. So maybe it's
Yeah,
a good.
they say you're gonna get money to get pooped on by a bird.
Oh,
That's what they say.
I did not get paid.
No, that's what they say. Go get a lottery ticket when you get pooped on by a bird.
Oh, well,
Good to know.
I get to buy a lottery ticket next year,
Woo!
and I get to vote. But
Oh yeah.
I feel so left out. All my friends are 18, and they get to do a bunch of legal stuff now, like go vote and buy a scratcher, and what else can you do at 18?
We live with 4 other people, and 5 out of 6 of us turned 21 in quarantine. So
Yeah.
yep.
Partying hard, huh?
So Justin and Bree have a question. It's in the chat. I'll read it out loud. It says, "What are your plans once you graduate, and what do you do to not get burnt out from practices and working out?"
Oh, okay. I'll answer the college question because that's the burning question that everybody is asking me right now. So since games is next year, I'm gonna graduate, and I'm going to train really hard up until games. And I know I'm gonna make games because I'm second in the nation. Like you have to take me. So I know I'm gonna go. So games is during the summer, and so I told my parents that I think I'm gonna take a semester off after games because you know, like my whole life has built up to this really big swim meet. So big decisions like college aren't really in the picture right now because, you know, I gave up my NCAA eligibility when I was 14. I went 14 when I went pro when I was 14. So, yeah, I don't recommend that. But yeah, I tell everybody I will make a decision in the fall of 2021. But I want to go into sports management, and I kind of want to live out in California, work for Joanne.
Yes. Come to
But
us.
I will. But I'll probably I'll go to Paris, probably work up to Paris, and Paris will probably be my last Paralympic Games, just because I'll be 21. I'll be young. I want to get married. So yeah, that's kind of like my plan. I can go so many different ways, and people really don't understand. Like I'm making more money right now than I'm probably ever gonna make in college when I'm swimming and trying to have all these different jobs. But yeah, I can right now. Oh, sorry, my clock. Right now, the underlying plan is to live out in Colorado for 11 months, 8 months, 10 months maybe, and do community college out there. and trying to get just to have I realized having a sports management degree is a good like underline. Like I could coach, I could manage, and I could be a sport, like eventually go into sports management. Like some like just it goes into a lot of things.
Yeah.
But
It's very like diverse, the options you have after.
yes, and I'm the seventh child, and some of like my siblings, some of them went to college, and I don't want to, you guys are doing great. You guys are going to college. You guys are fantastic. But I see my siblings, like two of my siblings went to college and they're not even using their degree that they got. And, you know, like they don't have college debt because we all have trust funds that they paid for. So that no biggie. But I see my friends that are upperclassmen and they're just going to college because they want to go to college. But if going to college is your dream, then go to college, do it. But right now I'm making more money than any athlete that I know that's in college, like my friend Ahalia. She's asking me like all this stuff, and I'm like, Ahalia, you're at Rice University. You do not drop out just because what I'm doing. Like, don't do it. It's very stressful. But yeah, we'll just see what my plan is. I'm really good with go with the flow.
Yeah, go with the flow for sure. I was just listening to a podcast where they were interviewing Allie Raisman, the gymnast, and she was saying how it's really important for her to like find out who she really was outside of her sport, because once she finished her sport, it was she was already like older, like in her 20s, later 20s, and she just everything she knew was always around gymnastics. So yeah, it's good that you're just gonna go with the flow and like see what happens. If you want to go to college, go.
Yeah, and after 2021, taking that semester off is going to be a really good time just to find out like if college is the investment I want to do, or keep swimming for a while and keep that money that I'm making and do it to something else. And my sister is entrepreneur, and she got her degree in physical education, and she's like, Haven, I thought this is something I wanted to do my whole life, and then I did it for 2 years, and now I am a business owner, and I can do my own stuff. I can set my own hours, and I'm pregnant, so I get to do whatever I want. And I was like, good for you. I was like, but your husband is also a contractor, so that's also, I'm like, just, it's like, you're not talking to the right crowd here. But and also I talk like this because I have my siblings that are much older than me, so because they talk to me like this because they they have the experience, they know what to go through. So yeah.
Okay, so what do you do to not get burnt out from practices and working out?
Oh, I don't think I'm always burnt out, but so I'm going to tell you a little personal story about burnt out. Around, I would say after games, my mom started to see I'm a little bit obsessive compulsive, but I don't like to say that because I don't like labels. But she started to notice how obsessive I was at practice, because in my mind, I thought the more I did, the better I got. But that's not true in anything you do. Yes, the more you put in, but at some point, it's just not going to be enough. So she started to notice a little bit of that in me, and she started to get a little worried. And so she said, okay, we're going to take a break this year. Like, you're gonna so I went to homeschool classes, like to see other people. She's like, we're going to take a couple months off for you to like just breathe a little bit. And it was a big sacrifice for my parents, all the practices I was going to, because I couldn't drive, and my brother was in his senior year of baseball. So my dad was picking me up every morning practice. My mom was picking me up at night practice. Like, it was just getting a little bit overwhelming for kind of all of us. So the break was good for all of us. So we went to Disney World, and I loved it. But after that break I had, I noticed how far behind I got. And that really stressed me out because my whole life, you know, growing up without legs, I describe it best like this. I was always so afraid to ask for help or complain because I was afraid that if I complained or asked for help, then every thought that everything that people thought about me came true when I would complain or say I needed help. So I never asked for help my whole life. I went to physical therapy for 2 weeks, and then at the age of 4, I said, "Mom, I'm done. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. I can do it myself." Like, so I was very much like that as growing up. And so feeling behind after the couple months I took off after games, you know, being at the high, you know, almost making games, but I was just too young because I was 13. But so my mom noticed that I was really obsessive compulsive about practice, like, you know, like doing more, like going to practice, lifting weights, you know, sacrificing time on the weekend. Sometimes I would swim on Saturdays just because in my mind I was like, oh my gosh, you're running behind. Like, you don't need to don't ask for help because you are falling behind, you know? So in my head, that was just all I thought about for 3 straight years. I thought about Tokyo for 3 straight years. And, you know, that's not healthy to do because, you know, that's 3 years away. I couldn't even think about nationals. And like, I wasn't even happy when I won nationals because I was too focused about games 2 years from then. You know, I just, that was just so not healthy for me because nobody really knows how exhausting swimming is because like I had this boyfriend that played soccer, and he just never could understand the pressure in swimming. You have to do swimming every single day. You know, soccer, I was like, shit, you run and you make goals. That's not like swimming. You have to go every day. And like, I'm not banishing team sports, you know, that's amazing. I'm not a team player. I like the attention too much. But anyway, but I just really couldn't grasp the whole, like, having little victories. I wanted a big victory, and the big victory meant going to practice on Monday morning, swimming that night, going to weights, going to practice. And that was my whole life for 3 years. Like, I had friends, but like, I wasn't being a good friend because I wasn't checking up on them because I was being selfish. I was being selfish because I wanted this huge dream that wasn't even attainable for another 3 years. So that's how I was burnt out. You know, I wasn't getting sleep. I joke I was running. I joke I was fueled by coffee and Advil. Coffee at 11 o'clock at night trying to finish my assignments. Advil the next morning to cure my muscles. You know, it was just, I talk about that grind a lot. But yet again, my mom noticed the kind of the bad habits we were having. So she said, you need to step back because it was 2019, it was this Christmas before 2019. And she's like, Haven, this is your last year before games. Like, you need to reevaluate who you are before you go into these, because if you get there and you don't understand who you are when you're swimming, then it's done. Like, we're done. Like, we're not doing this anymore. So, you know, we had a little bit come to Jesus moment, and, you know, I've been doing so much better. You know, I'm taking less time to swim. I'm only swimming like 6 days a week. Everybody's swimming like 8. And I just told my coach, like, I don't think 8 practices a week is going to make me a better swimmer. So, but how I cured that was so much of trying to dig within myself to know who I was truly. And, I was growing up in the church. We're always really taught like soul searching, all this stuff. But at some point you need to dig within yourself of who you want to be fulfilled in what you're doing. So in swimming, I was trying to fulfill a goal about not asking for help and like I could do this myself. But now the whole goal is swimming for myself and knowing that I can do it by myself, not to prove to others that I don't need their help, but me showing myself that I can do it myself. So with burnt out, I just spent a lot of time with myself. You know, I took a full week off of swimming, and I just sat down and I said, Haven, you got to get your shit together. Like, like let's reevaluate. So, yeah, ever since I took that step of just saying, like, you know, Haven, you don't need to wake up at 5 every single morning. You can sleep in once in a while. But just taking those small steps of walking backwards and seeing the big picture and having little goals. And that's my biggest thing about burnout. I hope you guys have little goals instead of just fulfilling your big goals.
Mm-hmm. So what advice would you give to younger athletes who are getting involved with the adaptive sports movement, seeing as like how much you've grown and learned from your journey? What would you tell someone else who's younger than you?
I would say have fun. That everybody says make sure you're having fun, but that's not true. Like, everybody's stressed out and exhausted, but I would just say have fun while you're young. I dove into it really, really fast. So I suggest to just have fun and take your baby steps. You know, you're not going to be at the top. Like I think, excuse me, I think I had the biggest mistake of just, you know, I was just like this and then I went like this, like right away. Like, there was no build up. Just take little steps to get there. So yeah, I would say enjoy the journey.
What when you competed when you were 13 to try to get to the last games, what age were the people that you were competing against? What was the competition like?
Oh, I think, okay, actually it was the summer. So I was actually 12, but I say I was 13, but that was the summer I was 12. So I was swimming up against 28-year-olds, 25-year-olds, 18-year-olds, and a 30-year-old.
Wow.
And I was the youngest one there. That was like that was my biggest debut. I was the youngest person to make trials. Yeah, they weren't gonna take a tween to an international country. Yeah, and my mom literally told the USOC when I was there, I was like, you are not picking her. You are not taking her to Rio de Janeiro, a third world country, by herself. No. So I think that was and also even if I did like technically make it, I would be they wouldn't have picked me because I was too young.
So what motivates you or inspires you to keep swimming and keep doing what you're doing?
Like I said, it's just proving to myself I can do it. Growing up, I never really asked for help, and swimming was just another thing that I didn't want to ask anybody for help because I knew I could do it myself, and I needed to prove to myself that what's that thing that we talk about now when your only personality trait is not having legs? I didn't want that to be something that became of me. I didn't want to just be known as the girl with no legs. And even you would say you would talk to my friends and they don't even know I don't have legs. Like that's not a factor in their mind because I hate bringing it up. I hate bringing it up because I don't want to be that person. Like, oh, it's the not having legs for me. So yeah, it's just proving to myself I can do it.
Nice. So there's some questions in the chat. First, Justin and Bree wants to know, where are you living right now? Because you said us Californians. So where are you living?
I'm from the Midwest. I'm from Missouri. I'm from the Ozarks.
Oh, like the show. You know that show on Netflix?
Yeah, that's not the Ozarks. that's like no, that's not the Ozarks. People always think that. It's like, no.
It's not a big like drug cartel.
No, that's not true. Have you ever heard of Branson, Missouri? It's called Little Vegas. It's very cute, but the Ozarks it's beautiful. There's trees, and right now it's beautiful because everything's turning like yellow and orange. So you have these big hills with these beautiful trees that are turning, and these grand lakes, and I love it here. But I live in Missouri, but if you drive 20 minutes that way, east, you will hit Oklahoma. I love Oklahoma too.
It's close. And then Taylor wants to know, what's the age difference between you and your siblings?
Oh, so my oldest brother the oldest one is, I should know this. He is 38, 30, yeah, he's 38. Okay. Yeah, almost hitting his 40s. Mama had 3 kids, took a 5-year break, and had 3 more. And I told her the reason why she did that is because she wanted the first 3 to raise the last 3, and that's what happened. And then the last 6 raised me. So,
what was the gap between the second 3 and you?
Oh, my brother, who is I'm the 7th and he's the 6th. We are 6 years apart.
Wow.
So, yeah. So we're pretty. I'm really spaced out between my siblings. My sister Haley. And also I had a nanny because mom had a lot of kids, a lot of sports schedules, so I just stayed home with her a lot. Because my mom would go to my brother's basketball games at college, and then my dad would go to Sawyer's Y games at the same time. So that's how busy our schedule was. And when when they were thinking about adopting me, they were like, yo, we can't do this, kid without legs, we got 14 sports schedules going on. And by the time I came along, I just stayed at home with my siblings a lot. I was basically raised by my siblings and sprinkle of my parents, but now I'm the only one at home, which thank goodness. I get I've never had this experience where I just got my parents to myself. That's amazing. If you were raised in a big family, there's nothing like having your parents all to yourself.
Yeah. Okay, Naomi wants to know, what have you done to grow adaptive sports?
Oh, I think adaptive sports after games really blew up because of all the controversy that was going on. But the way I try to grow my adaptive swimming, it's well known now, but it's so right now we're such in a age of social media, and everybody can hear about adaptive sports. It's so much of just opening your ears to hear it, and people think it's the Special Olympics, but no, it's the highest level of athletes, but just having a disability. So I think the biggest thing is social media is trying to grow. Social media is the best way to grow our voice in this huge world of lots of voices. But adaptive sports really needs to be shown as real athletes, because everybody and their mama, when they have a kid with a disability and they're good at sports, they think they're going to go to the Paralympics, and I'm like, no, that's not happening. It's hard. The thing is, everybody looks at me and they think they can do it, which I believe they can, but nobody realizes that, I came at the perfect time. London games were just was over, and a bunch of people retired from swimming. So I just thought, everybody looks at me and they're like, well, you just shot up right on that board. And I was like, yes, but it was timing, and I was in a very athletic family, and I had all the resources to be like this. And everybody just asked, everybody, a mom asked me, so they're like, so how do I get my kid on the national team? And I was like, well, first of all, Tony is 6, so he's not going to get on the national team right now. And then I was like, also, just let him be a kid. He's trying to figure out this world on his own. He's trying to, kids that see the Paralympics and it's great, get awareness out there, but people don't understand it's a real cutthroat industry. And so that's the best way I can describe it. Is best way to promote it is to promote it as such a professional event, and it is.
Yeah, it's very competitive, definitely.
Yeah, and I'm not competitive. Isn't that crazy?
So most of our members are kines or like health majors that may be interested in working with adapted athletes. So can you describe some of the professionals that you work with who could be an example for our members, such as maybe you work with a trainer that you really like, or a coach, or a physical therapist, or a doctor, or something like that, so we have an idea of what the options are.
Yeah, I have let me start with not having legs first, okay? So I have a couple doctors just for my legs, and I actually just came from a checkup to prove that. I also to prove to insurance I still don't have legs.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I would say for just, the nursing degrees and all that stuff, the best way to help your patient or amputee is just to make them feel very comfortable, because you don't realize how vulnerable it is. Like, I'm in swimming, and that's a very vulnerable sport. Like, you're just in a swimsuit, like everything's showing. But a lot of people aren't in that element of just showing their legs all the time. So trying to make them feel as comfortable as possible. But also, I had to have the wheelchair talk when I was like 10 or 11, because I just didn't take care of my legs. I ran around on my knees. I pulled knobs off my kitchen counter a lot because I just was climbing on stuff all the time. So I would just really emphasize that you need to take care, because like if you have knees, you got to really protect everything in you. So all for those people that want to become prosthetists, yeah, just try to be very approachable. Like I've had my prosthetist since I was about 3 years old. So and he still makes my legs to this day. So but more on the sports side, it's harder because not everybody knows about the Paralympics. I'm drinking pre-workout, and it's like it's really getting me like really hyped, and I've also had coffee. But for on the sports side, it's just harder because a lot of people just don't know, there's the Paralympics and how cutthroat it is. So I have a sports trainer. She tapes my back every once in a while. But I would say for swimming, I would say the best thing to know about swimmers that are in the Paralympic athlete side is to try to enforce protection. Most importantly, you have to protect your skin, very importantly. It's because you don't realize how much like friction is in like wearing a socket and a sleeve and then a sock. Like that creates a lot of just like wearing down, and also you can get like bone grafts. It's where a little like I don't know the technical term, you guys might know, but it's when your bones are breaking off. So you have to be really important for that, and especially for the track athletes. But sports trainers, I would say, I don't really know, because like I said, I don't really ask for help that much. But the times I do, KT tape works best for all of us. So
they have really.
So I don't really like being touched. I realize that too. I don't like being touched that much. I got a massage a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, don't touch me, please. Even though I paid for
your coaches are just they're just like the club coaches that
they're not any special coaches. But if I go to the Olympic Training Center, they're gonna be special Paralympic coaches.
Yeah.
There's no club for like adaptive, because there's just not enough of us. So if you do want to go into that range, I would say try to go to a really like big area, probably like my friend Ahalia, she got into Rice University. She swam. There was a couple adaptive clubs, but they weren't like pretty athletic, that athletic. So club coaches, any coach is just a regular coach. But I have a personal trainer that I do weights with, and he does special programs for me. Like I don't snatch, jerk, or push anything. I only do deadlift, squat, and bench. And those are specific because they're working on my muscles instead of my joints. And he's really trying to protect my joints, like my knees. My knees are really important in swimming. So those are like the more specialized coaches. But I know if my friend in Colorado, he had a special coach and she only worked with him only on his stroke. But I like the competitive aspect more of just being on the team and the constant, who's going up each week. So that's the best way. That's the way I like to train. I don't think I would do very good on a just adaptive team in general because I'm a little bit too competitive to be on that kind of level.
So when you guys do a kick set or something, do you do the kick set with them or you adapt it?
Yeah, sometimes I do a kick set. Like yesterday we had like a 2,000-yard kick set, and I have flippers that I can kick with, and they're really cute. They look like a little, I say, oh, Mermaid Haven's here. But a lot of times I just swim it and treat it as like a pull set, and I'll put on paddles and just pull for the rest of it, or I'll scull.
Okay.
And the scull is just doing this and pushing water behind you. And just to give my arms a break, because you don't realize like during those kick sets, everybody's getting taking a break for their arms. But like if I'm doing a kick set and I'm swimming, that's not giving me a break at all. So I try to do the kick sets as much as I can, just because, I just kind of need that relief for my arms because my arms are doing all the work.
Mm-hmm. Okay, a question, and then it's about time to wrap up. So
I think Akil had a question.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. I'll shoot fast. I'll do it fast.
You know what? I actually don't have time to ask the question, but Haven, I just want to say thank you so much for coming by and just talking to AAS. I swear I've seen you at least at one triathlon, but I've actually never gone up to say hello because I didn't really know who you were. So great to meet you online, and I just hope I could catch you further down the line. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
We really appreciated it. It was fun.
Thank you. Your story
Thanks for
is
having me.
interesting.
Okay,
Thank
does
you.
anyone have any last questions or anything like that? Okay, Haven, we're gonna go to our, did you leave? Did she leave?
Yeah, I think she left.
Okay, well, we're gonna go back to our GBM.
Yeah, we just have a couple more slides, and they're the same
Really
as last
fast,
week.
Same as last week.
So
Just really quickly, bear with us. Revised point system. I'm just going to do this really fast. You can get points for posting or reposting our events on social media. And if you recruit someone and bring them to the next meeting, you can get a free shirt. We actually only have smalls and mediums though.
yeah, and if you guys brought someone new this time, then you can just send a message and then we will try to get the shirts to you.
Yeah, just let us know if you brought someone and who that person was, and then we will send them out. Does anyone have any questions, comments, concerns?